Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm your host, Avery Cooper. Your stream co-sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. Joining me on the phone is Rock Springs Conservation Center Manager, Alicia Callison. Welcome back to the program, Alicia.
Thanks for having me.
So what's going on with you in the world of the Macon County Conservation District and the Rock Springs Conservation Center?
Oh, well, we always have a lot of stuff going on out here. But one thing that we are gearing up for, which I believe I mentioned last month as well, is our Rock Springs Ramble. This is our fundraiser 5K race that's coming up on April 9th. So we're just about 3 weeks away from that event. It should be a lot of fun. It's a 5K race. There's also a 1 mile nature hike. There's a kids event as well. There's all sorts of really cool prizes, a nice swag bag situation there. And if you're a runner, this should be a pretty fun one. So you can check out our website or go to runsignup.com to learn more about that.
Where will the runners, run?
Good question. So they will run on the bike trail, the Rock Springs Fairview Bike Trail. We'll start here at Rock Springs, and they have a path or a plan set out to run along that trail and then come back. That'll be 5K.
Nice and foresty. What's the landscape like?
The trail itself is flat. It's paved. It is. There are some hills, but nothing too crazy. It should be a nice run out in nature.
Nice. You get to run through the nature center in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you mentioned also there's going to be some kids activities. What can the kids do?
Yeah, so one thing that we've got going on right now that I'm excited about is our art contest. So we actually have a youth art contest that's open to local children, and we are encouraging them to submit a piece of artwork that depicts native wildlife, so deer, cardinals, bees, something like that. And then they can turn that in, and there's going to be prizes for first place. First place will get a $25 Blick gift card so they can buy art supplies. And first, second, and third place winners from each category will also be have their art displayed in an exhibit over the summer here at the Nature Center. So submissions are currently open for that. I'm excited to see what everybody has. And the due date, the final date for that is going to be April 11th.
Let's go back a little bit. I may have jumped the gun, and this is my bad, but let's go back a little bit to that 5K. Where can people, I guess actually you mentioned it, you can go to your website, but a little bit of other details, registration fee, are there any prizes for the winner, stuff like that for the 5K?
Sure, yeah. So it's $30 to sign up. There are prizes. There's, I know there's T-shirts, there's medals, there's some painted rocks that are on the table. I think there's tote bags. There's all sorts of stuff that they're putting together right now as a prize pack for that race. And you can register on our website. You can go to maconcountyconservation.org, or you can go to runsignup.com. It's called the Rock Springs Ramble.
The Rock Springs Ramble. Anything else that you wanted to mention with the Rock Springs Ramble?
Nothing specific. I know that there will also be some refreshments provided. So I think they've got some pizza and some snacks as well.
Awesome. Oh, got to load back up on the carbs after you burn them, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
No, so going back into this drawing competition, is this the first time that you guys done this?
This is the second time that I recall. We did one in 2019. It was really well received. I think we had about 47 submissions, which I was so impressed with, and it was really amazing to see all of the talent that we have, that the local children have in our community, and they were excited about it, and we were excited to display it. So I'm hoping that this one will be well received as well, and we'll have a lot of interest and get to see some new talent.
Without, telling people what to draw, what are you looking for in a successful drawing?
Sure. Well, art is so subjective, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So we want the artwork to depict native wildlife. So some type of animal or plant that you could find right here in central Illinois, right in your own backyard or in your local forested area. So try to avoid things like tigers and sharks and bears, as wonderful as they are. But past that, you can get creative. We encourage creativity. Think about your favorite native animal and create a piece of artwork uh, that really shows its beauty and why it's interesting.
Where can folks go to learn more and or sign up?
Yeah, so you can check out our website. Again, that's maconcountyconservation.org. Or you can just type Rock Springs Nature Center into Google, and it'll get you there too. And there's more information there. All you have to do is create your artwork and then send it to me, Alicia Callison, before April 11th, and that's really all you have to do to turn in a submission.
Last time we talked, Alicia, you were really excited about a new exhibit. How's that going?
It's going really well. We are working to finalize the last little bits and pieces of that. We're still on track to have our grand opening on Sunday, March 27th. So that's coming up pretty fast. And it's going to be an open house, grand opening from 2 to 4 on the 27th. You can stop by the Nature Center, check out the new exhibit. I'll be here to kind of tell you a little bit about it and answer questions. It'll be very loose and informal. Take your own time to explore. There'll be refreshments, and you can just come anytime between that 2 and 4 time period and check it out.
And that's on March 27th, you said.
Yes, correct.
Remind folks, what can you find at this new exhibit?
So this is an exhibit that kind of the main focus was twofold. So first of all, we want to teach people who we are, who is the Macon County Conservation District, what do we do, and why do we do it? And then also teach people a little bit about what conservation is and how you can be a part of conservation on an individual level. So we've got some history of the land. We've got a really cool life-size wigwam that you can check out and get inside, and some really cool educational panels and some little interactive stuff for the kids. So it's a really, really nice exhibit.
I think a lot of people know about the conservation district in Macon County, but I think that's a fair point to bring up. What is it that, outside of putting on a lot of really cool events, what is it that the Macon County Conservation District does?
Yeah, so the conservation district, basically our goal is to acquire land and revert that land back to natural areas, so natural habitats, things like prairies and savannas and forests and wetlands, and then protect that land and preserve that land in perpetuity so that you and I can enjoy it and our grandchildren can enjoy it and their grandchildren can enjoy it. So, and it's not just for us, it's for the wildlife too, of course, because there are a lot of animals and plants out there that need specific types of habitats to survive, and without those, we would lose a lot of those plants and animals. So that's kind of the goal of the district, and all of our program and events try to support that. They try to make people aware, get people out here, get people seeing what we do. And I think actually a lot of people don't really know the conservation district that well. They know Rock Springs, but they might not understand what the conservation district is. We get questions a lot of the time about, oh, you're the park district. We're not the park district. The park district does awesome stuff, but we aren't them. And also, it's not just Rock Springs. We have several other sites throughout the county that you can explore.
I want to talk more about that here in just a moment, but first let me reintroduce you, and then I gotta take a quick break. You're listening to the WTIM morning show. That is Rock Springs Conservation Center manager Alicia Callison. You're on the WTIM morning show. Your stream is co-sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm your host, Avery Cooper. Your stream co-sponsored by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. On the phone here with Alicia Callison. She's the Rock Springs Conservation Center manager with the Macon County Conservation District. You know, Alicia, I'm admittedly not from the area. I grew up in a place where I could go maybe 5 minutes any which way, and I could find a hike, whether it's mountains or around a lake. And I understand that, well, you have a hike coming up here. I guess where I was going with that is I haven't been able to find one. So tell me, where can I find this hike, and how is the Macon County Conservation District playing a role in that?
Sure. So one thing that we like to do is offer a variety of different nature programming, and one of those types of programs that we like to offer are hikes. So it's an opportunity to get people out to see some of our sites and learn a little bit about local ecology and different things you can see out in nature at that time. So that being said, we have a hike coming up on Saturday, March 26th. And this is at one of our other sites. I mentioned before the break that we do have some other sites throughout the county. And this one is at Fort Daniel Conservation Area. And if you're not familiar with Fort Daniel, it is a conservation area that's located kind of out in the Long Creek area. And it's a really beautiful park. If you haven't been there and you can't come to the hike, absolutely put it on your list and check it out. But we're going to be talking on this hike about the seasons changes. So what's going on in the spring? What kinds of changes can you see in the spring? We'll be keeping our eyes open to see if we see any signs of spring. And this is a free hike. And all you have to do is go onto our website and register.
What are some of the things you'll find on this hike?
Well, it's hard to say, but some of the things that we hope to find would be maybe the first few little wildflowers starting to pop up. The weather has been favorable for that, so we could definitely start to see some of those things popping up. Some greenery, some spring birds. There are certain birds that are only here during certain times of the year, so maybe we'll start to see some of those guys moving through. We might see signs of animal activity that, animals that have been in hibernation over the winter starting to come out. So those are some of the kinds of things that we'll be watching for.
What other areas do you have? Actually, first, let me back up. Where can people go to find out more about this hike?
Yeah, so check our website out. That's maconcountyconservation.org. And that hike again is Saturday the 26th at Fort Daniel.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, what are some of the other areas around the Macon County Conservation District that people can explore?
Sure. So there are a few actually. In addition to Rock Springs and Fort Daniel, we also have Friends Creek Conservation Area, which is out toward Argenta. And Friends Creek also has a campground. It's the only public campground in Macon County, and it's a very nice little campground that they've recently been doing some work on. And it's also a conservation area, so there's lots of hiking and lots of beauty. We also have Sand Creek Conservation Area, which is out toward Elwyn. And Sand Creek is a site where if you have horses, you can bring your horses out and walk on those trails with your horses. And we have Griswold Conservation Area, which is in Blue Mound. And this is a small little site that features a glacial came. So it's basically a big mound, which is how Blue Mound gets its name. And then we also have a couple of historic sites throughout the county, and one of those is the Governor Oglesby Mansion in downtown Decatur. This is a historic home that Governor Richard Oglesby lived in the 1800s. He was a governor of Illinois 3 times, actually, and he was a good friend of Abraham Lincoln. He was a Civil War general. So there's lots of history there. You can tour the house at some of their open houses. They're open the last Sunday of the month, and they only ask for a small donation of $2 per person for that.
Wow. Now, do these specific sites have websites that they can go to, or is it all under MaconCountyConservation.org?
Yeah, so they're all part of the Conservation District. So if you want to learn more about any of these sites, you can go to MaconCountyConservation.org, and you can explore a little bit. There's information about all of them there.
Got to go here in less than a minute, Alicia. Anything that you wanted to cover or any final thoughts that you may have?
One other thing that we can mention is coming up this Sunday. We do have a preschool program. So if you have any preschool age children that might be interested in learning about cold weather and ice, that's the topic of this particular program. It's for kids ages 1 through 5, and they'll do a craft, they'll take a hike, and they're going to paint with ice. So that'll be a lot of fun. And that's coming up this Sunday, and you can register on our website.
MaconCountyConservation.org, right?
Yes.
That's Rock Springs Nature Center manager, Alicia Callison, on the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Thank you.